Patrick McGraw, and you guys are from Whitefish Bay, right?
Yep.
Okay, and I want to talk about Dylan, and we'll start with Mom. Jen, you were pregnant, and at the ultrasound about 18 weeks.
Yeah.
Something showed up that was just abnormal.
They saw quite a few things that they were concerned about at that ultrasound. It's probably the scariest day of our life because we went in there very excited to find out if we were having a boy or a girl. And instead, we found out that there were a lot of problems. So the doctor had to perform an emergency amniocentesis because they weren't sure exactly what was going on with Dylan.
Okay. So they did the emergency amniocentesis, and then what did that say? What did that tell you?
They found out that the main tests were for like the trisomies, so they were looking at trisomy 13, 18, 21, which is Down syndrome. Dylan came back negative for all that. Then the rest of the results came in, and he was negative for that too. They did a genetic microarray to try and look at his chromosomes and stuff to see what there was an issue, and that all came back normal. They weren't able to detect what the issue was exactly, and they still don't really know. It's really hard to figure out when it's a genetic issue. They think it's a recessive gene, so that makes it even harder to determine. It's basically, if you think of a huge library downtown and you think of huge rows of books, it's basically telling you to locate a single word missing on a random page in every one of those books is basically what they're trying to determine. So it's not an easy thing. Everyone asks, well, why can't they test? Or, they're trying, but it's a needle in a haystack.
Right.
Some of these things, we say it every year, that there are new things that are happening all the time, and it's just, it does take them a long time to try and figure it out. So you told me off air they're just calling it Dylan?
Right now, they just kind of nicknamed it Dylan syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about the pregnancy itself, then. Did you go full term, or how did that work?
We did. The first 20 weeks or 18 weeks were blissful. We were so excited. It was our first baby, so we, did everything, celebrated, had tons of pizza with extra sauce, and
Drank pickle juice. That was more you than me.
And then after the scary ultrasound, just had lots of ultrasounds thereafter, just to kind of keep track of what was going on, watching his growth, and if there was anything else that showed up. He was growing kind of quickly, and they noticed at an ultrasound, I believe, I don't remember, I was upper 20s or lower 30 week-ish when they saw his head was measuring at like 40, 41 weeks, and they were afraid that he wouldn't get past my hips, so they decided to induce at like 37 and a half weeks or so. Mm-hmm. And that was a 50-hour ordeal, and he wasn't ready to come out, so they had to do an emergency C-section.
And then he was born on what day then?
August 14th at 3:18 in the morning.
And how much did he weigh?
He was 6 pounds, 13 ounces.
Okay, all right. She said, I'll let you talk.
She says that a lot.
So 6 pounds,
weight?
Normal weight,
Normal
6
weight.
pounds, 13 ounces.
Full head of hair.
Yeah, full head hair.
So when he was born, what was wrong?
He had the bilateral cleft lip and palate, which was diagnosed on ultrasound, which was one of the concerns. He had emphalocele, which is when the stomach
the intestines
they don't close up and outside the stomach wall, and also his eyes. At some point, his eyes stopped forming completely. So you saw he couldn't open his eyelids because his globes did not form to the size that they normally would. So he was blind. There were questions as to whether he could hear as well, but we have pretty good evidence that he could hear, especially when ladies talked. He would flash his eyebrows and all that.
Yeah.
But there were cysts on his brain as well that they found on ultrasound, and he actually had to have shunt placement surgery and a shunt revision surgery.
Dr. Foy.
With Dr. Foy, who is one of the
Excellent
many
neurosurgeons.
great physicians and staff, one of the great staff members that we were introduced to and met.
Did you get a chance at all? I mean, once he was born, did they whisk him out of there right away?
I didn't get to see him until I was able to walk or to like stand up after the C-section. So for at least 24 hours, I didn't get to see him.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick was able to see him immediately after they got him out, and then he came back by me while they were closing me up, and then he got to go back down when I was recovering.
So how long? Yeah, like did they immediately start surgeries on him or no? Okay.
He
All right.
wasn't stable enough.
All right, yeah.
His lungs formed really small, so he was having problems breathing. So he had to get a few doses of surfactant to kind of get his lungs functioning. His rib cage, unfortunately, was another hurdle that ultimately was one of the reasons why we lost Dylan, is they were so restricting that he couldn't really breathe on his own. So he was on a ventilator the entire time we were here.
How long did Dylan live then?
We had him for 2 months.
Just over 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was born on August 14th and passed away at home with us on October 17th.
With the help of palliative care and Dr. Humphrey.
Mm-hmm. You were able to take him home when?
On the 17th.
October 17th.
Yeah, that was it. So how many surgeries, how many procedures and surgeries did he go through in his short little, life?
8.
8.
8.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, and and the incredible thing about Dylan is, despite those 8 surgeries and the constant blood draws, being being blind, he loved and he inspired and he continues to inspire every day. And
there's literally not a moment that goes by, is there, without you thinking about it?
No.
Would you say, those 2 months, you hold those really close to your heart, those 2 months that you had. Would you say that those were gifts to you?
Yeah.
Maybe because of the people that are here at Children's Hospital, they were able to give you
Most
help give
definitely.
you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have had those 2 months. The nurses here were also fantastic. They allowed Patrick and I to feel like his parents. We got to change diapers and we got to give him baths, and Brenda, one of our favorite nurses and one of Dylan's girlfriends, made sure that we were able to do the kangaroo care, which is the skin-on-skin contact that we hadn't been able to do prior, and that really meant a lot to both Patrick and I. They really were pushing for us and were very supportive and gave hugs when we needed it and told us to go home when we needed to be told to go home to sleep or to go eat. The staff here, I don't know what we would have done without this hospital and the staff here.
I would say that they allowed us to be very active parents in a setting, in a circumstance that isn't
Ideal.
And they, as far as the support group, we obviously had and continue to have an unbelievable amount of support and love from our family and friends, and that includes the staff here. The support that they gave us during that time, at times when you feel like you're alone, like no one can relate, the staff and the doctors here do such a great job of making you feel like they're almost going through it with you, and that they're there with you every step of the way, and they're going to do everything they can and hold your hand. And when there weren't many, in days when there weren't many very consoling things to go on, that was one of the few things, was just the amount of support we had.
It's awful, and I feel so badly. The palliative care does an amazing job in the fact that they know that the outcome is not going to be what you want it to be or what everybody hopes it will be. And palliative care, when they get involved, that they just kind of have to try and walk you through this awful, dark, painful time. And they help you learn how to say goodbye. And I always, when you get palliative care involved, it's so difficult because it's, you know. And he's so little. He's 2 months. And that's not supposed to happen to a 2-month-old.
No.
It's awful.
But I think that, the thing is, you said the 2 months was a gift. And it is, and it's something that you carry with you in your heart, and it will never go away. And that's, it's because of the care and the expertise and the love that this staff and the caregivers here show, and it's genuine and it's sincere. You can't fake that kind of stuff.
No, I mean, the services that they provide for people is immeasurable. They have the lactation consultants, which come and help mothers, get their milk in or help with breastfeeding, and then they help with pumping questions and all that kind of stuff. And then there's the palliative care, and then we have the infant support, the infant loss support group that we attend now every month. That it's actually, that Children's is organized so that you are actually among people that understand what you're going through, because everybody feels, sad for us, and they feel terrible for us, but they don't get it. And we don't want anyone to get it, but those
Right.
are the people that do. They
Right.
fully understand what we're going through, and if it wasn't for those people, we kind of feel like you're alone, just
Right.
grieving. But it's nice to know that there's other people that actually understand what you're feeling and what you're going through.
You can lean on each other, because those are the only people that understand. Yeah, those are the only people. Well, thank you for sharing Dylan's story, and in some large way, I think it will inspire people to step up. I'm hoping, in memory of Dylan, and as a tribute to you guys and what you guys have been through, and as a tribute to the staff here for helping get you those 2 months that you carry forever.
And maybe in some way, with the money that's raised here, they can figure out what it is.
Well, with genetic research and whatnot, I'm sure there, if you could somehow fast forward into the future, I'm sure there will be some way to be able to figure out what that missing word is and what that page is and where that book is and all that. But right now, it just can't happen. So.
You hope so.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Once again, Jenny and Patrick from Whitefish Bay lost their little guy, Dylan, after only 2 months. And these are the kind of families that you're helping with the Miracle Marathon. So please make these phones ring, 414-337-9554.